Something strange is happening with the International Space Station, and Elon Musk might be at the center of it all. The ISS has been orbiting Earth for over 2 decades, serving as a symbol of international cooperation and scientific progress. But now, its future is uncertain. NASA has plans to retire it by 2030, yet Musk seems to have a different timeline in mind. A single tweet from him sent shockwaves through the space community, raising a controversial question. Is he trying to dismantle the ISS sooner than planned? And if so, why? Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind this shocking development, the hidden motives at play, and what it means for the future of space exploration. The International Space Station has been humanity's home in orbit since the year 2000. A joint effort between NASA, Roscosmos, ESA, JAXA, and CSA, it has hosted hundreds of astronauts, groundbreaking experiments, and key advancements in space technology. But maintaining an aging space station is costly, and NASA has long planned to retire the ISS by 2030. Allowing it to deorbit safely into the Pacific Ocean. To facilitate this process, NASA awarded SpaceX an $800 million contract to develop a specialized deorbit vehicle. The plan is simple: gradually lower the station's orbit until it safely crashes into a remote ocean location known as Point Nemo. Then, in a surprising turn, Elon Musk made a bold statement. He suggested that the ISS should be deorbited much sooner, within the next 2 years. His words raised concerns and questions. Why the rush? What does he stand to gain? And could this actually happen? Musk's statement puts pressure on NASA, private companies, and even international partners. But is his vision practical, or just another one of his famously ambitious timelines? To understand his motivations, we must first examine the larger picture and the power struggle unfolding behind the scenes. Elon Musk has never been one to follow the rules, and his latest comments about the ISS only reinforce that. His statement about accelerating the station's destruction didn't come out of nowhere. It's part of a much larger shift in how he wants SpaceX to be perceived. For years, SpaceX has been NASA's most important contractor, launching astronauts, cargo, and now even building the vehicle that will bring down the ISS. But now, Musk seems to be pushing for more than just fulfilling contracts. He wants to influence major decisions in the American space program. His suggestion to deorbit the ISS sooner than planned contradicts NASA's official timeline, which has been carefully coordinated with international partners and private companies. The decision isn't just about money. It affects ongoing research, private investments, and international agreements. NASA has long-term commitments that extend until 2030, with funding already secured. Changing course now could disrupt those plans and create friction with global partners. And yet, Musk insists that his timeline is the better option. His reasoning? He claims the ISS has already served its purpose and provides very little incremental utility. In other words, he believes there's nothing more to gain from keeping it in orbit. Instead, he wants to shift focus toward Mars exploration and future space habitats. But there's another layer to this story. Some believe Musk's push to accelerate the ISS deorbit is about control. If SpaceX can dictate when and how the ISS is retired, it strengthens its position as the dominant force in space operations. Rather than just being a contractor, Musk positions himself as the one calling the shots. NASA, on the other hand, isn't eager to let a private company dictate space policy. While they rely on SpaceX for critical missions, they also work with other providers like Boeing and Northrop Grumman to avoid over-dependence on a single company. This growing tension between NASA and Musk raises an important question. Who really decides the future of space exploration? Governments, agencies, or powerful private individuals. As this battle for influence plays out, the ISS remains in orbit, caught in the middle of a debate that could reshape the future of human spaceflight. Next, we'll explore what experts and astronauts think about Musk's push to retire the ISS early, and why some of them are strongly opposed to his plan. Elon Musk's proposal to accelerate the ISS's deorbiting has sparked intense debate, not just within NASA, but also among astronauts, engineers, and space policy experts. Some see it as a logical step forward, while others view it as reckless and unnecessary. Retired astronauts who have lived aboard the ISS express deep concerns. For them, the station is more than just hardware. It's a symbol of international cooperation, a laboratory for groundbreaking science, and a crucial stepping stone for deep space missions. Chris Hadfield, a former ISS commander, weighed in on the topic, stating that while the station is aging, it still provides invaluable research opportunities that shouldn't be cut short. Other experts point to the ongoing scientific experiments being conducted on the ISS. From medical advancements to materials research, the microgravity environment continues to yield discoveries that could benefit life on Earth and future space missions. Shutting down the station prematurely could mean abandoning experiments that have taken years to develop. However, some engineers and industry analysts acknowledge Musk's perspective. Maintaining the ISS costs NASA billions of dollars annually. With commercial space stations in development and new deep space initiatives on the horizon, they argue that retiring the ISS sooner could free up resources for more ambitious projects, like the Artemis program or missions to Mars. There's also the issue of safety. The station's aging structure has already experienced multiple air leaks, hardware failures, and increasing maintenance demands. Musk has hinted that delaying its retirement might be an unnecessary risk, suggesting that NASA should focus on building the next generation of space habitats rather than keeping an outdated one afloat. But there's a catch. Even if NASA wanted to retire the ISS early, it's not entirely their decision. The station is a joint effort between multiple space agencies, including Roscosmos, ESA, JAXA, and CSA. Any major change to its retirement timeline would require international consensus. And given the geopolitical tensions in recent years, especially between the US and Russia, such an agreement could be incredibly difficult to achieve. With opinions divided, the question remains: is Musk pushing for the ISS's retirement for the greater good of space exploration? Or is there another agenda behind his proposal? In the next section, we'll break down the potential winners and losers of an early ISS deorbit, who stands to benefit, and who could lose billions in the process. Musk's push for an early ISS deorbit isn't just a technical or scientific debate. It's a matter of politics and economics. The International Space Station is a $150 billion investment, and any decision regarding its fate has massive financial consequences for governments, private companies, and space agencies around the world. Let's start with NASA. The agency spends around $3 billion annually to maintain and operate the ISS. Retiring it sooner could free up funds for ambitious projects like the Artemis program, aimed at returning humans to the Moon and eventually reaching Mars. However, Congress plays a major role in budget allocations, and many policymakers have strong incentives to keep the ISS operational for as long as possible. Private companies that rely on the ISS for commercial research and development would also be affected. Pharmaceutical firms, manufacturing companies, and even AI developers use the microgravity environment for experiments that can't be replicated on Earth. Shutting down the station early would force them to seek alternatives, but as of now, commercial space stations like Axiom's proposed orbital platform are still in their early stages. Then there's Roscosmos, Russia's space agency. The ISS has been one of the last remaining points of cooperation between the US and Russia. However, with tensions rising, Russia has already hinted at withdrawing from the partnership and developing its own independent space station. If Musk's push for an early retirement gains traction, it could accelerate Roscosmos's plans to break away entirely, further fragmenting international collaboration in space. And what about SpaceX? While Musk claims his suggestion is about efficiency and safety, there's no denying that SpaceX stands to gain from an earlier ISS retirement. NASA has already awarded the company an $843 million contract to develop the deorbit vehicle. If the timeline is moved up, SpaceX would have a more prominent role in managing the ISS's final descent, further solidifying its dominance in the space industry. Additionally, with the ISS out of the picture, NASA and private companies would be forced to accelerate the development of new space habitats. SpaceX, with its Starship program, is already positioning itself as a key player in the future of commercial space stations. Some analysts argue that Musk's push to retire the ISS sooner could be a strategic move to open the market for new orbital platforms, many of which could rely on SpaceX's launch capabilities. But while financial and political factors play a massive role, one critical question remains: is the ISS truly in danger? Could an early retirement be justified by safety concerns? Or is this just a convenient excuse to advance other agendas? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the cosmos, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our next exciting adventure into space. See you next time, explorers.